Welcome to Vital Signs. Why are we here? Because health is wealth, and you're going to learn more about that in just a moment. But before we begin, anything you hear in this show is for educational purposes only. Please consult with your medical practitioner before implementing anything new into your diet, your exercise, or anything else that you hear on this show. We are really excited to be here today. I have a very special guest here, Lisa Brooking with Health Code Medical. It's the expert in longevity and peak performance. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me, peak performance and longevity. How did you get into this?
Yes, well, thank you. It is the perfect intersection of my career, starting out as a critical care nurse. I've had a progressive career, and I've seen care at different vantage points. And also as an athlete, I run on the national team, and I've had great experiences running on the roads and have won several races. And so Health Code Medical is that intersect of, as a clinician, and getting the most peak performance out of my own body.
And so as we think about this, you have described health as an asset class. Tell me more about that.
Yes. Well, similar to our finances, we have short and long-term goals. We consider the same with health. So we want to take good care of our health. We only get one for a lifetime. So in order to do that, we need to have short and long-term goals. We want people to live life on their terms. In order to do that, you need to be fully informed.
Absolutely, and I love that you said live life on our terms, and we talk about health as wealth, because you can have all the wealth monetarily in the world, but if we don't have our health, we can't really enjoy it. And you just said we have one body in which to live our life. So what does it look like? Like, what are some of the things that you have noticed as you've integrated into that space of longevity and peak human performance?
Well, certainly going from the defense to the offense. Right? So we're not disease focused. We're looking to get on the offense. Like, let's look ahead, preventative, early detection. Let's change that trajectory. So it's just a whole different approach, and it's very exciting. People can take charge of their health, and they can have agency over their health. And so with that is super empowering, not only for the individual, but the family, and let's create healthier communities.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So walk me a little bit through this process of, you know, functional medicine, early detection, and peak performance. Like, what is the first step?
Yes. Well, with that, so we want to make sure there's nothing brewing. So you certainly want to be doing screening for any of that early detection to see what's going on, because that's ultimately going to be the top priority. We know early detection saves lives. And then we look at, okay, do you have any underlying conditions that we can help shift that trajectory? You know, why is your diabetes seem to be that you can't get under control? Your cholesterol is going up year over year. Your weight, you just can't seem to get on top of it. So let's look at that. And so in order to get peak performance, we need to do the first step, which is to make sure nothing's brewing. The second step, to then see what underlying conditions do you have, and how can we take that down? How can we shift that trajectory? And then the third, what is that peak performance? Is it running a marathon, keeping up with your grandkids, heli skiing, or let's get back out on that football field?
So what I'm hearing is establish your baseline, know where you stand, get your screening early, get that early detection, fix whatever's there, correct that, and take control of our life. And before the show, we were talking a little bit about some of the aspects of this, and you mentioned food as medicine.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about food as medicine? Because we hear it on TV. There's all the things. You have to eat this salad. You have to eat this, do this, don't do this. And there's a lot of misinformation about what we should be even eating these days. So talk to me a little bit about food as medicine, and how should we be looking at this?
Well, functional medicine gets to the root cause. So what is really driving that disease process? What's driving the inflammation, the brain fog, where you feel like maybe you're aging faster than your friends? So functional medicine does testing to get to that root cause. And is it coming from the gut? Like, what is causing these issues that ultimately you're on medications to manage the symptoms? And so with that, food is just this amazing source of medicine. And where those imbalances are, you can get those nutrients through food. If you can't, there is supplements you can take, but ultimately the food is really the superpower that's going to just heal those cells, you know, really create healthy inside, which is ultimately healing the body from within, is going to give you ultimately what you're looking for from a longevity standpoint.
And you talked a little bit about the gut here, and we've started to hear some buzzwords about gut health, microbiome, like all of these weird words that not everybody understands what they mean. But how important is it to have an understanding of where you are, your baseline, with regards to your gut health, with regards to everything else that follows?
Oh, exactly. Well, we consider the gut the second brain. And so certainly if you're eating foods that is, causing inflammation, bloating, you just feel sluggish, well, that's going to come out in your skin, that's going to come out in your hair, your nails, brain fog. And so very much the gut, the microbiome is so important to really understand. In order to do that, you need to get testing to see where are you at? Have you created an allergy over time? A lot of us eat the same foods day after day, I know I do, for breakfast, but over time you can create an allergy to that food. And so it's very important to do testing to see where you're at in order to be able to make those changes.
And so let's back it up and look at it from like the 30,000 foot view. I like the 30,000 foot view. I eat whatever I eat on a daily basis, but I tend to be bloated. What is that bloating telling us when we have bloating in our body? Is that like a signal that we should pay more attention to? Like, what are those signals in our body that we feel that are kind of like the early warning signs of shouldn't eat that, or this isn't working for me? Like, what does that look like for the viewers out there? What are they feeling or experiencing that is kind of a clue that says, hey, I should go get this checked out? Well,
we live in a busy world and we're always rushing from one thing to the next, and oftentimes we're eating on the run. But it's so important that when we're consuming that food, like, how does it make us feel? Do we feel energized afterwards, or, as you had mentioned, bloated and sleepy? And so that's worth saying, I had a sandwich. Is it the gluten intolerance? Is it, do you have some sort of underlying allergy? So there's something that your body is not responding to well. There's so much processed foods, which is chemicals. When we think of growing a garden, we put water on the garden and maybe some fertilizer. We're not pouring a pop and expecting that plant to grow. And so our bodies are these incredible machines, and it's such an extraordinary gift. And sometimes we don't take very good care of it. And it's one thing to have your vice once in a while, but if it becomes a regular habit, you will you pay the price for it through chronic diseases and potentially a shortened lifespan.
And for those of you who are in the Houston metro area, a pop is a soda or a Coke. We're not pouring Coke on our plants, so why would we put that in our body? And you said something that I really want to highlight, and that's that processed food has a lot of chemicals in them. And our bodies are, we naturally detoxify stuff in our systems. We know that is true biologically speaking, but if we're putting a whole lot of processed food and chemicals into our body, and we have a slew of symptoms, how do we know which food it is? How do we get to that crux of that if we're doing our own experimentation, for example?
Well, and there's so many telltale signs. So it's coming out in our skins, in our bowel movements, and there's so many telltale signs to show that this food is not sitting well with you. There's an allergy, or the unhealthy processed food is really slowing down your body's ability to process. So again, that testing will be able to identify it. But for sure, there's, healthy eating is where it's at. There's so many nutrients in something like spinach and kale, and it's packed full of nutrients. And so just a simple spinach salad can just give you a whole bunch of bang for your buck. And I know it's not as maybe tasty as some of those other things out there, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. And I think if people just added more healthy foods into their diet, they would start to see the changes, the mood, the energy. You're making great decisions at home and in the office, and you just have this energy to do a workout after work. So that comes through plant-based diets, whole grains, healthy eating.
Yeah, so what I heard is make sure you're eating the whole foods. And it sounds so simple, but it's not easy in today's fast lifestyle. So I just want to, for everyone who's listening, I heard add a green something to your day. It's not like you're asking people to completely wholesale shift everything all at once either. I heard just try a little bit of spinach in your salad, and that'll give you some nutrient density to help you feel better. So is there some method to this madness where we're just trying to add one thing a day or one thing at a time so that we can make this a slow burn and it becomes a part of who we are?
Exactly, because it needs to be a part of who we are. It's how we identify ourselves. I care about my health for myself and my family, so because of that, every Monday we're going to eat we're going to just start with one meal. So dinner on Mondays and maybe Mondays and Wednesdays is going to be a big salad and fish, right? And so just making those small changes, or we're going to bring some carrot sticks and hummus in the car with us. Those small changes really compound over time. And if seeing is believing, so I really encourage your viewers to give it a shot because it works wonders.
Ooh, I heard a challenge out there, folks. I heard to try on a little something healthy for size, pay attention to how it makes you feel, and we will be right back after these messages.